Hi everyone, my name is Julia M. Spencer. I'm a real estate advisor, investor, and your number one source for real estate advice online. And in this video, we're going to talk about special masters. Hello! Long time no see. I am back. I will hope to record more regular videos from now on as I have more time, as both of my boys are grown and are off to college. Bittersweet, but also the birds have to fly out of the nest sometime. And so I have a lot of material I want to share with you guys. So let's talk about special masters, because I didn't actually understand this concept until very recently. Special masters, what is it? It's actually a line item that I became aware of when I began to pay my bill for a very recent quiet title action that I had to pay for. And it was actually one of the largest items besides the attorney costs. I think it was several $1,000s. And I'm like, what is this special master? Do I actually need it? And can we do without it? As always, I'm trying to be thrifty. I'm trying to save money. And I want to explain to you guys really quickly what a special master actually is. So as part of the process to gain property ownership, once you buy property at a tax sale foreclosure, you have to do several legal steps. I explained those steps in some of my videos. One of them is barring redemption rights. The other one is a quiet title action. And there might be other steps in between that you have to do. You have to try to get some title insurance. And if you want to get financing, you have to talk to the mortgage companies, and they might have other steps that you have to go through. You also have to maybe evict somebody. There's a lot of things that happen after the tax sale if you're interested in actually gaining full and good title of that tax sale foreclosure. So let's talk about each step just really briefly, and I will tell you then where the special master comes into play. I recently conducted an interview that I actually posted here on my YouTube channel with my tax sale foreclosure attorney. It's there in 3 parts. You should really, really listen to it because he gives a little bit better explanation than I can. As always, I'm not an attorney. I'm a real estate investor and enthusiast and your advisor, but I'm not an attorney. I'm not a realtor. I'm not licensed in any way. The only license that I have is to teach online courses, and my other certifications are an MBA and yeah, and that's it. And a lot of on the street experience, I guess. And so let's talk about this. So barring of redemption rights, you can look that up on my YouTube channel, is the first step to basically bar anybody that has any kind of specific interest in a particular property from claiming that property back, from redeeming it. The next step would be a quiet title action. It's a little bit more involved. And you may or may not have to do this action. It depends on what you want to do with the property. And once that's successful, you can get title insurance. And you need title insurance to get financing on a home. A bank is not going to give you any kind of loan if they can ensure that the property actually 100% belongs to you and is not going to be claimed back by somebody who may have a lien against it. And now you might have to do the barment more than once. Sometimes 1, 2, or 3 times, depending on how well it was done the first time. If there was any liens that were omitted or forgotten by chance, then you may have to do it again. And so that is basically the process. Barment, quiet title action, and then you can get title insurance. So the Georgia statutes, Georgia, by the way, is the state that I'm in, actually says that you get fee simple once you complete the barring process. And that's basically just a fancy legal term. However, what that means is you don't have an insurable title. So that means at this point you can't really get title insurance. Nobody's going to loan any money to you. You can send it over to the next investor and sell it to him with a quitclaim deed, but they will inherit any kind of liens that are on that property already. So the property still has a proverbial cloud over it still at this point. So you would want to clear that cloud with a quiet title action. And there's 2 different kinds of quiet title action processes that you can go through. One of them is called conventional and the other one is called a special master. The conventional one is basically where you serve a specific person and you serve that person wherever that person lives. It's called an in persona title, and the special master is basically where you sue the whole entire world in rem. That's what in rem means. And that one is usually brought in the court where that particular property is versus where anybody lives. So a lot of times what you're doing with the borrowing of redemption rights and the quiet title is to serve the same people over again. So the same people for borrowing of redemption rights, the same people with quiet title action. And so it is kind of useful to use the same legal representation for both, from what I found, because it's kind of like if somebody tries to work on a used car that a whole bunch of other mechanics have already worked on. A new mechanic that comes into the picture won't really know what the other ones did or how they did it. And so a new attorney may not know exactly what the other attorneys did and if they did it correctly. So you might be saving yourself a little bit of money and definitely your lawyer's effort to try to redo this again. And it might obviously also save you money because same people have to be served again, and to try to research this information takes time, which equates to money. So if you've used the same lawyer for both actions, it means that first that lawyer that's done debarment, if they're doing the quiet title, they already have all the information from the first time around they did this. So this is very important to save yourself some money. A lawyer, of course, not going to tell you this because a lot of times they want to just kind of milk your money. So nothing bad against attorneys or anything like that, because they're in the business too, but it also helps them a little bit to not have to reinvent the wheel, basically. So what my tax sale foreclosure attorney actually said is that a lot of times in these kinds of cases where a special master is eventually needed, the reason they're needed is because a judge really doesn't have all the knowledge and expertise that they need. And so what they will do is appoint a special master. A special master is basically a lawyer, a person. It doesn't always have to be a lawyer, but it's usually a lawyer that practices law in that particular circuit where that particular property is located. And a circuit is basically several counties together, and they have more expertise and hands-on knowledge of those particular areas and counties on how to research that case and have more experience with those kinds of areas. So this special master then becomes the person that has complete jurisdiction over the case and any kind of title problems that arise and how to resolve them. So it's basically the expert witness, you should almost say, but it's more like the expert judge on the case. So they basically control the entire case, and they have special expertise of how to resolve title issues in that particular area, especially from tax sale foreclosures. The part that's kind of like bad for the investor is the fact that the judge not only appoints a special master, but they also decide how much that special master is going to get paid. And sometimes that's something they won't even tell you ahead of time. So basically, if you and your lawyer decide, okay, this is the case, and the judge decides, this needs a special master, we're going to appoint blah, blah, blah person, and we'll send you the bill later. So you're basically buying a service without actually knowing ahead of time how much it's going to cost. And sometimes those special master attorneys get paid $400 to $500 an hour. So it is not uncommon to get many thousands of dollars added to your bill of a quiet title action when a special master is needed. The one thing is, though, that if there is a special master, they will look out for any minors and unknowns. They might actually designate a guardian ad litem, so they will look out for the special interests that may be omitted if a normal, regular attorney that might not be familiar with that area is handling the case. So it's a good and a bad thing, I guess. It's really not very good for the investor if a special master is involved, but in a way it's also good for them, because then you know that the quiet title action is done properly, and there are not going to be any kind of claims that are coming after you later on when you least expect it, or when you've maybe already put $50,000 or $100,000 into a property and got it all nicely fixed up, and then this random person with a lien shows up, and that's not going to happen if you have this special master. Not very likely that that's going to happen anyways, that the special master, when they had control of the case. Another thing that my lawyer has actually told me is that some judges get involved with a case like this when they really don't have the expertise, which makes things even more difficult. And that happens a lot of times when a judge is maybe inexperienced or new, and that is kind of like not really what should be done. Another thing that can happen is that your particular lawyer that you hired kind of just gathers all the information and sends everybody to the master, and basically expecting the master to do all the legwork. But what really should happen if you have a good lawyer is that they do all the legwork ahead of time at the rate that you negotiated with them. This is your lawyer, and basically present all this paperwork to the special master so that the special master just can look it over and basically do the check marks, and then the judge will be the one that's signing it. So this should be the ideal case. But if you have a lawyer that just sends everything over and expects the master to do the work, first off, you're going to pay a lot more money than you should for this quiet title. But second off, it's just going to take an extraordinary amount of time because, as I mentioned, the special master is responsible for many counties, and there might be assigned to many cases. And so for me, for example, I'm just going to give you an example. I had a couple times where I had a property that was where I filed a quiet title. There's actually a total of 3 that I've done this with now. And one of them went fairly quickly. It wasn't really too much work on that one to be done. But another one took me literally a little bit over 2 years to get the quiet title done, simply because we had a special master. It took forever to get one assigned. It took forever to get on their schedule. And it took forever to them to do the actual work, and to the point that I almost gave up on the quiet title action, but it was finally pushed through and the judge finally signed it, and lo and behold, after 2 years, I have a marketable title now. But just be mindful of this. If you have a really good attorney, he can tell you ahead of time if a special master may or may not be needed, and then you can calculate into your budget and your profitability analysis when you buy a tax sale whether it's worthwhile. Because if the property isn't worth very much and you have to jump through all these hoops and do the dog and pony show to just get a good title, it might not be the property that you want to invest in. Any case, so much for the special masters. I hope this video was useful. Make sure you subscribe. I'm going to tout my website here, so make sure you subscribe and send me messages, comments, suggestions, anything you want to know more about. My website, of course, has a lot of really cool information, a bunch of audiobooks. I'm working on an interactive class right now. This class will basically teach you how to invest in tax sale foreclosures, all the hands-on real life steps that you need to take. None of that history, jumbo mumbo, or you should do this or you should do that. Basically the hands-on stuff. It's going to be very concise. The least amount of time involvement that you could possibly need in order to get started. Now let's get successful in 2025. Let's make some money. There's still money to be made at tax sale foreclosures. So let's do this. Subscribe, send me messages. I still do mentoring. Very limited because I want to concentrate on doing classes for groups, but I also want to focus on this course. So if you want to have a chance to purchase this course ahead of anybody else, I can start sending you a link. The first one that can purchase the course online and get started right away. So hopefully this will help you. Thank you so much for checking out my video. Check out any of my other videos as well. Subscribe also to my YouTube channel, and I look forward to hear from you. My name is Julia M. Spencer, an investor and advisor, and your #1 source for real estate advice online. Bye-bye. Hi everyone. I wanted to add this as a little bit of a postscript to this video. It's a little bit later now, and I just got off the phone with my attorney because I actually myself had a question as I was editing this video, and that is the fact that I mentioned that there's two types of quiet title actions. One is the conventional and the other one is the master. And then later on in the video I had mentioned that the master is actually a person, an attorney, somebody that's appointed to look at a case when the hired attorney that's doing the quiet title doesn't really have all the maybe the expertise, but maybe not all the knowledge about one specific area. So I was wondering, which one is it? Is it a special type of special master, is a type of quiet title, or is it actually a person? So what my attorney explained to me, and I want to make sure I remember this correctly because I didn't write it down because I was driving, is that the special master quiet title is a method. So it applies to both. So when you do a superior quiet title, which is the special master quiet title, that is when you use a special master attorney. So it is a quiet title action, whether it's conventional or a special master, but the special master quiet title is a superior quiet title, and that's the one that requires a special master appointed either by the court or requested by the attorney in order to make sure that the quiet title is extremely solid. And we need it to be solid because why? Because we need to get title insurance so that we can later on get some sort of title insurance that covers us in case we want to get a mortgage or any kind of financing. And they will sometimes require that the quiet title is a special master before they approve the title insurance. And without title insurance, you can't get financing. So it's kind of a lot of steps. And my attorney, of course, he went into a little bit longer explanation of this. I'm trying to boil it down to the individual things. A conventional quiet title is really only appropriate when it is very clearly known what the deficits in the instruments are on any particular property. So let me take that back. I'm starting to sound like my attorney. So every property will have a timeline of different instruments of transfer from the beginning that it was built. And I do believe that they go back 50 years. I think he mentioned that to me. So they sometimes have to go up to 50 years to the past in order to verify what all the transfers were from day one that the property was in existence until the day today. And there has to be kind of like an artwork, like a provenance. It passed from this person to the next person to the next person to the next person, and it has to be a clear trail. And if anywhere in this trail of instruments there's any kind of doubt whether or not there is a problem with this transfer, that's when you will likely encounter the need to have a special master type of quiet title against the rest of the world, because sometimes you just don't know what happened there and where the people are. Sometimes they're deceased, sometimes they're departed, maybe they're missing, who knows, So what I'm trying to say is the conventional quiet title is the lower type of quiet title that is not as secure and as solid as the special master quiet title. And then the second question I had is, can a client that hires an attorney actually request for a special master to be used or not to be used? And my attorney said to me that he doesn't really give this option to the client, and the reason being is that the client a lot of times doesn't understand the different kinds of instruments and where the problems could be as good as an attorney. So he or she, depending on what kind of attorney gender you have, is going to appoint a special master. And sometimes they have a lot of work, sometimes they have very little work, it just depends. and sometimes the court will decide how much they get paid, and sometimes the fee is low, and sometimes it can be quite high. So when you are at the special master's discretion, you are at their mercy, basically. So you got to beg. No, I don't know if that actually works, but I know it takes a lot longer and is a lot more expensive for the special master. So hopefully that clears things up. That's the end of it. End of the video. Bye-bye.
For a free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.
And I am your real estate advisor. No, number one. I need to write this down. My name is Julia.